position for the mind to do its job nicely, especially when we sit here meditating formally, So it's really important to remember that. And sometimes we can mistake, because the body feels good and you sit for half an hour feeling nice, you think you had a good meditation. Well, you felt nice for 30 minutes. That doesn't mean you meditated. The meditation is the mind. And what's an interesting point, by the way, the Tibetan word, the verb to meditate, the word gom, it actually translates directly as to familiarize, which is very surprising for us. We have this kind of fairly abstract idea of meditation. It's very strong in the modern world. But it's concentration is the first step you need to do, which is what the world thinks of as meditation. But that's just really preparing the mind in order to get it super focused so it can do the actual job in the second mode of meditation, which is known in Sanskrit as vipassana, and that means getting insight. And so, Buddha wants us to get insight into all sorts of things. So here, this is actually what we're doing in this meditation. This is an insight meditation. And this is, what are we doing? We're familiarizing our minds with certain things. That's meditation. So it's very different. It's a very different interpretation. So we need some focus, of course. So let's just get the body clear. If you're in full lotus position, fantastic. If not, half lotus. If not, in a chair. And if we're in a chair, we make sure we don't slump into the chair. We sit upright. Have your feet firmly on the ground. That's the feet, the legs. Now your hands in the meditation gesture. There's many. The classical one is, as we know, left underneath like this, right on top, if you can see me, like this. But if not that, just resting on your lap as you wish. And then the back very upright, like we said, upright. But the thing is, it doesn't say this in the text, but we know when we sit upright, we tense the muscles. So they say one of the points in the 8 points of getting the body right is the shoulders to be upright but relaxed. So have the whole body relaxed. I always think of it as if your skeleton is hanging on a hanger. It's absolutely upright, isn't it? And then all the flesh kind of hangs on the skeleton, relaxed. So sit upright and then consciously relax your muscles, especially your abdomen. Let the muscles flop. Shoulders upright, but relaxed. And then the main one is the head. Well, not the main one, but the last one is the head, several points. It's ideal to have it slightly tilted forward, chin tucked in a bit. And then your mouth, lips slightly apart. Ideally, for long meditations, the yogis have found that to have the tip of the tongue resting behind the top teeth, just near the palate, prevents you from having to dribble. So it's all very practical, it's not some cosmic thing. But have your tongue there if you want to get familiar, just behind the palate, just behind the back teeth, resting there. Your lips slightly apart, and then your eyes looking down, as if you're looking along your nose. The great yogis keep their eyes open because when they're really concentrated, the light comes in, they don't get distracted like we do, So that's the position. Legs, hands, your bottom. And if you're sitting in cross-legged, find the position that works for you. The cushion, ideally, really could just be just above, just at the back of your bottom, under the coccyx, thrusting you slightly forward. But we have to find what works. And then your hands and your shoulders and your head, eyes. So settle into this position. And for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, let's do the first mode of meditation, concentration. Or, the goal of it is called calm abiding, shamatha. Calm abiding. It's just a very subtle state of utter focus. And you use that laser-like focus to do the real work of getting insight into emptiness, on all the things. Buddha wants us to get insight into everything. So that's why it's called insight. It's not some fantasy thing. It's insight into how things exist. And the focus, the better the focus, the better the concentration, the clearer we can get the insight. So like I said, this meditation we do is an insight meditation. Let's get some focus first. Let's get some concentration first. So just use your breath. That's good enough. That sensation at your nostrils. So essentially what we're doing is paying attention to it. You're determining to pay all your attention to that sensation. And that is it. And your aim is to keep there. And if you wander off, bring it back. If you wander off, notice it and bring it back to the breath. And you let the thoughts be. Kind of like mind your own business and let the thoughts come and go. That's the training. So a strong determination. And with this motivation, we're going to do this little 30-minute meditation so we can develop our marvelous potential, get clearer and clearer about our mind, purify our speech, our body, our mind, so we can become better human beings, so we can be benefit to others, all the others we live in this crazy world with. So with that in our heart, just watch the breath with determination to pay attention. So with this focused mind, let's do this little practice. You can stay focused and just need to open your eyes when we get to the syllables in case you haven't memorized them. So with this little sweet little refuge prayer, I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit all these sentient beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. I take refuge in the three rare sublime ones. May I become a Buddha to benefit transmigratory beings. So now, visualize Buddha above your crown, sitting on his lotus on a throne, very glorious and beautiful. So now we visualize, we imagine on our tongue the Sanskrit syllable ah. Sits on our tongue. And then it turns into a white moon disk, flat cushion on your tongue. All right, just in case there's someone here who hasn't done this before, it's a particular practice of purifying our speech. In fact, it's purifying our body and speech as well as our mind, you'll see. But it's using the Sanskrit syllables that are the sounds that make up the mantras. And all the holy beings say that this is said to be the most pure sound. Can't just believe that. We have to need to investigate it. So by reciting these sounds and doing this little visualization, it's a way especially of making our speech less neurotic and harmful and misleading and more powerful and more beneficial. Because we need speech. We need speech to survive in our lives. And it needs to be useful speech that people want to listen to, people want to respect. Otherwise, you can get nothing done, can you? Not to mention the long term, where you can guide sentient beings with your speech. So now on top of the moon disk, there's the Sanskrit syllable Om, standing upright. Of course, we're looking at we can see the Roman letters, not if we don't know Sanskrit or Tibetan. So now you imagine it's surrounded by the vowels, and they're white. And of course, if we don't know them, we just have to imagine they're circling clockwise on our tongue, around the Om. Standing upright, all shiny. And now surrounding them are the red consonants, and they're counterclockwise. All shiny and bright, standing upright. And then surrounding them are the blue, sort of dark, not very light blue, but not totally dark blue. Lovely light, sort of blue like the sky, maybe a bit darker. Blue syllables of the heart mantra of dependent relation, as Lama Zopa Rinpoche refers to what some people call the mantra of dependent arising. And they're all around your tongue, very shiny and beautiful. So now you imagine what we're going to do now is hook the energy of all the powerful speech of the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, the great yogis, the practitioners throughout the world, and bring it and absorb it back, bring it and have it come and dissolve back into the syllables in our tongue, making them radiant and even more radiant and more delicious and more powerful. So the light beams go out from all these syllables in the three colors, white, red, blue, hook in all the 10 directions, northeast, southwest, northeast, southeast, all those other ones, the 10 directions. The last two are the up and down. So throughout the universe, it hooks the energy, the marvelous energy. And as Lama Zopa says, it hooks the energy of it's the power of speech of all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, and those living in the three pure bhumis, and all the holy beings and the arhants, as well as the power of speech from all even just good human beings working on their minds and practicing, the great sages and yogis who have the power of words. And it's very clear the meaning, the power of words means that when you say words, people believe you, people trust you. And if you're listening to the teachings, you really notice this. Like if you hear the Dalai Lama speak, okay, he's said to be a Buddha, but if he speaks, somehow his words, because they're coming from the actual experience in his mind, he's just reading them from a book. So those words have power. It's really clear. We can see some people like that. And so we need that. We need that to be of benefit. The power of speech, and it's the greatest gift of the Buddha. We can look at Buddha for 1,000 years looking very nice, but if he doesn't open his mouth, what good is it? We can't get the advice. We can't read his mind. We need the words that are the expression of his mind. So we need this to imagine the syllables on our tongue full of all this power. So now you imagine first, the white vowels melt like nectar. They melt and drip down up and fill our entire body. So this time that we imagine what this is doing is actually purifying all the sickness and heaviness of these bodies of ours, these big lumps of lead we have to carry around all day, isn't it? So imagine all the pain and the suffering and the difficulties of our body are completely healed. The body feels light. But especially imagine this nectar filling us from the white vowels, purifies the karmic imprints from all the countless lifetimes, from all the harm we've ever done with our bodies to sentient beings. Totally purifying all of this. Imagine, be so happy as this nectar fills us completely as we recite. Om a I u ri ri li li e o ang a swaha. Om a I u ri ri li li e o ang a swaha. Om a I u ri ri li li e o ang a swaha. All of this white nectar totally purified our bodies, and all the harm we've ever done to sentient beings with our bodies. So pleased, so delighted. Because there's no karma we can't purify. This is clear. And also, so think too, now your body, light, and imagine, this is marvelous, imagine that now it's not possible to harm sentient beings with your body. It's possible only to benefit them. Of course, this is our potential when we're a Buddha, but imagine that. How amazing. You know, all the ants and the creatures, we're not going to harm them. Whoever sees us, touches us, is benefited by our body. Be so happy. So now red nectar pours down and then up, drips down. You know, the syllables melt, this divine, delicious nectar, filling us completely. And this time purifying the speech itself. So first thinking it purifies all this kind of, so often we don't know what to say or how to say it. We get confused. We seem to say the wrong thing at the wrong time. We don't mean to. That's very common. Imagine all that's purified. All the nonsense and confusion. But also specifically purifying the ways we harm sentient beings and all the karmic imprints from harming sentient beings. And of course, this means as humans with all our clever speech, you know. I mean, animals shout and yell at each other, but maybe they frighten each other. But we use such awful speech. We lie. We say words that aren't true. I mean, so misleading people, you know, or even speculate, thinking we know what we're talking about and we don't. This is awful. We say words that are harsh. We abuse people, hurt them. We say words about people behind their backs, which is our favorite, endlessly criticizing people. I mean, endlessly finding fault in other people, politicians, family, people on the street. You know, in our daily conversations, half the time it's just criticizing people. So heavy. Purifying all of that. And just purifying all the rabbiting on about nothing, you know, just kind of this compulsion to talk, feeling anxious, we have to say something, you know. All of this nonsense that hurts others, but the crucial thing here is it harms us. Causes these habits, causes us to have these experiences ourselves from others. We don't want that. So be delighted, this nectar, red nectar, filling us completely as we recite the syllables, the consonants. Om ka 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 ganga cha 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 janya ta 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 dana ta 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 dana pa 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 ba ma yada lava sha sha sa haksa swaha. Om ka 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 ganga cha 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 janya ta 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 dana ta 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 dana pa 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 ba ma yada lava sha sha sa haksa swaha. Om ka 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 ganga cha 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 janya ta 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 dana ta 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 dana pa 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 ba ma yada lava sha 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 haksa swaha. I never know the exact difference between the ta-ta-tas. There has to be one slightly, but I think Rinpoche's explained it somewhere. I always promise to look it up and I never do. So now the red nectar filling us completely in our speech purified. And now imagine that whatever we say, whatever sound comes out of our mouth, good morning, whatever it is, whoever hears it will be benefited. Can you imagine that? How incredible. And whatever you say, people will listen. Whatever you know, if you have things that you need to get done, your words will be respected. We need this so badly. And imagine this marvelous potential fully developed. And especially able to help people spiritually with advice, you know, full of this marvelous potential. All the rubbish purified. So now we recite this dependent, heart mantra of dependent relation, which it calls it that. And this time, of course, we're going to purify the mind, which is the source of all the problems. I mean, the body and the speech are the servants of the mind. They just do what it was in the mind. It's it's obvious, it's true, but we don't join the dots like that. We're sort of so convinced that we're just this big lump of me plodding through life, you know. We don't distinguish between the body, speech, and mind. But this is what's marvelous here. There's different practices to purify body, purify speech, and purify mind. And the mind, of course, is the final one, the main one. So here, the blue nectar melting down and up, filling us completely, purifies The delusions, the root delusion, ego grasping, ignorance, maripa, that totally believes at the depths of our being there's a real, definite, concrete, solid, permanent, inherent me in there somewhere, kind of running the show. It's totally instinctive because we've practiced it for so long, but a total fabrication, Buddha says. So that's gone. Imagine that's gone. And then when that's gone, all the attachment's gone, all the anger gone, all the depression, all the others, because they're the branches. You can't have attachment to get what the I wants if you've finally realized there's no intrinsic I. You can't be angry about when I gets upset when you have no belief in an intrinsic I. It's clear. They're all the voices of the fantasy I. So all the pain and suffering of our daily lives, our attachment, our fears, our jealousy, depression, low self-esteem, worries, confusion, all of this, we're so familiar. All of it gone. Try and imagine, gone. Because it's not at the core of our being. This is what Buddha has found. They're adventitious, these states of mind. It means they're not intrinsic. This is this is a revelation to us because we believe they are our true nature. But they're gone, imagine. And now what's left? It's important to remember. Well, wisdom, clarity, joy, love and compassion and kindness, and the bonus, happy mind, joyful mind, because joy is the natural consequence of having a virtuous mind. Suffering and anxiety and the worries are the consequence of having the delusions. This is what's amazing. This is what Buddha means by happiness, a blissful, clear mind. So imagine full of this, all the delusions gone, purified as we recite the syllables. Om ye dhamma hetu prabhava hetun teshan tatakato iveda teshan chayo nirodha evam vadimaha shamanaye svaha. Om ye dhamma hetu prabhava hetun teshan tatakato iveda teshan chayo nirodha evam vadimaha shamanaye svaha. Om ye dhamma hetu prabhava hetun teshan tatagato yeva teshan chayo nirodha evam vadimaha shramana yesvaha. Full of this blue nectar, our minds purified, radiant, clear, joyful, wise, loving, compassionate. This is the point that Buddha is making, These are at the core of our being. These are who we actually are. The other stuff's just in the way, causing all the pain and suffering. How amazing. Full of this blissful blue nectar. So now imagine that all the blue syllables on our tongue dissolve into the red syllables. And the red syllables dissolve into the white ones. The white syllables dissolve into the white Om. And then the Om dissolves into the moon disk. And the moon disk turns into an Ah. And now that turns into pink-colored nectar, which dissolves into our tongues. And as Lama Zopa says, it makes them indestructible. It comes of Vajra nature. Your tongue becomes so kind of like heavy and strong. And nothing can harm it or take away or destroy the power of speech, the power of your mantra, the power of your speech. So now have very strong confidence that all the power and all the blessings of the speech, all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and sages and yogis and so on have entered your speech, and your speech is perfected. Think, I have perfected my speech. So now think that whatever you say will be naturally appropriate, kind, compassionate, wise. I mean, how imagine having that ability, to be able to effortlessly say whatever is useful, beneficial, and appropriate. Amazing. Think like that. And whoever hears you, this is the most important thing, because speech, you see, when you're with others, they say, when you're with others, you really watch your behavior, and behavior is body and speech. And if you're on the bodhisattva path, you practice thinking that your speech is for the sake of others. So, okay, if you're at home and you're trying to work things out, you can talk to yourself, that's great. But the use of speech is for others. So when you're with others, you think like the bodhisattva, I'm there to help them, whatever's beneficial. And your speech can only benefit, especially benefiting people who are suffering mentally. We have so much suffering. We go to a friend, and just a kind word we know can be unbelievably beneficial. Well, think like that. You can subdue people's emotional suffering just with your words. How amazing. Be so happy to have that. And then, your speech becomes more powerful. And the other thing is, it's interesting to remember this Vajrayana model of the way we're constructed, because the speech, you see, is actually the wind energy. We're made up of the 4 elements. So prana, wind, that is speech. So the purest speech is mantra. Therefore, so then by having pure speech, because our wind energy at the subtle level is connected to our mind. So it's a method of purifying your own mind, not just your speech, but your mind as well, because they're utterly connected. This is so helpful. So you benefit and others benefit. Be very pleased. And just think the rest of the day, however much there is, beginning of the day for you maybe, or the end of the day, you're going to watch your speech like a hawk and make a conscious effort. The practices with speech are 1, be silent, not like passive aggressive silence, but conscious silence. It's a very good practice. That purifies your speech. Then another method is you saying mantra, incredibly beneficial practice. And another one is this kind of practice, consciously purifying, There's many methods. So think of that. And then be happy. We've done this for 30 minutes, gone like a dream in 1 second, isn't it? Like a second ago we started, and now it's over. And we dedicate with this little practice, this little most unusual prayer. I always can't get over the fact that there's a practice blessing your tongue. It sounds hilarious. May my tongue sense base and have tongue sense base is this subtler physical energy that's related to each of the 5 senses. That's not how we talk in the modern world, but this is this model here. It's a subtler physical energy related to the tongue consciousness. May my tongue sense base and have all the courage of the ones gone to bliss. By the magnificence and power of my words, may all sentient beings be subdued. Whatever words I say, may all these actions be accomplished instantly. And that's it, darling people. Take the prayers away so I can just see you all. Just let me put my view on so I can see you all before I say goodbye. All right, dearest people. Keep moving, keep practicing. Watch your body and speech like a hawk. And there's so much to practice, really. I mean, there's so fantastic. Even just controlling your speech is a wonderful practice. And then never give up, everyone, okay? So happy to see you all. Happy to see you all some of the weekend. It was a good weekend, wasn't it? I had a good time. Thank you for having me. All right, sweethearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you.